All right, there we go. Let's get Facebook in here and we can talk some Broncos football. We got the wheels spinning. 1 and 2. All right, welcome in, welcome in. It is 6:05 Mountain Time, Tuesday night. It's time for an episode of Building the Broncos. No building doing on today, Carl. The Broncos, the trade deadline's come and gone, and the Broncos, a lot of big people in the industry, hinting that the Broncos, might make a big splash. You got Jordan Schultz talking. I think Fowler as well over at ESPN. You had Palmer also mentioning the Broncos. Keep an eye out. Chase Daniel, of course, the connection with Sean Payton. But the trade deadline comes and goes, and the Broncos you had entering today are essentially the same ones that you have leaving today. There was a JT Gray released on an injury settlement, but no trades made. Carl, good to see you. A little bit, I don't want to say disappointing, but maybe underwhelming. I understand it, and let's just get into it. How are you doing?
Well, I mean, I'm good. I mean, how could you not be good? It's like, at least where I'm at, it's a beautiful day.
Mm-hmm.
Got to go for a run with my wife, daughter, and son, and the dogs, of course.
There you go.
So, I can't be complaining too much. Life in general is good, but you're right. The Broncos being first in the division, tied for first in the entire NFL for record. And you have some pretty obvious holes on this team that there were players being linked that would have been a huge upgrade for the Broncos. And to not see them make the move, I mean, in some ways I get it. Like, from what I understand, some of those teams were asking for the moon. You don't want to give up everything just to patch a hole this year. But at the same time, it's a little bit disappointing when you see a team like Indy, who is right there with you. They go make a really big splash move. Like, hey, this is our year. We're going for it. And the Broncos don't do anything to kind of separate themselves, because, I mean, you got the Chargers right there, 1 game behind. You've got Chiefs 2 games behind. It's not like you've got a ton of room. If you could have got that one more player, maybe it really does take you to that next level.
Yeah. The Broncos were in on wide receivers and tight ends, reportedly, allegedly, but it comes and goes, and we'll get into what we've heard, everything. Obviously, we don't have the world's best sources, but there's some stuff that's not directly out there that's been hinted at that I think, we'll just get into it, right? Allegedly, at the end of the day. Not allegedly, coming in. David McElrath, good evening, Broncos country, 13-4. It's possible. I mean, gosh, if the Broncos, Carl, I think it was maybe you and me, I can't remember. I say so much nonsense in my life, let alone the football takes that I have here with you and Eric and Scott in the morning. But I think I said I'd be more impressed if the Broncos go 4-0 over the New Jersey and Texas games rather than just winning that one Eagles game. And here we are, winners of 6 in a row at that. So I am impressed, but Denver's got a real chance. These next 2 weeks, we can't overlook the Raiders. Brock Bowers is back. Thursday night adds a weird element to it, and it's a divisional game. I mean, they would love nothing more than to play spoilers. I think if you take away Brock Bowers, don't play stupid football offensively and special teams with turnovers, you should win the game. I think their defense is a little bit underrated on the whole. They're like not like, it's not like the Cowboys, like laughably bad out there, but they're not good, and their offensive line is pretty darn putrid. So that should be a win. And then you got the Chiefs. They're coming off a bye. You'll have the mini bye, whatever you want to call it. If Denver wins these next 2 games, they pretty much have a chokehold on the division. Now, I know the Chargers are still out there lurking. You can't forget about Herbert, but with Alt done for the season, I don't know. I can't see them winning enough games. I mean, if Denver wins these next 2 games, I don't think we're talking just division. We're talking about, like, what does it take to get the 1 seed, which is, I mean, think about where we were 2 years ago. If you'd have told me that, I'd have said, you're freaking insane. Like, put down the drugs, buddy. But no, good to see you, David. 13-4, it's possible.
It's very possible. I mean, that just pretty much means they keep doing what they've been doing. They finish out the rest of the year going, I guess that would be, 6-2?
The same as they've gone, essentially.
Yeah. I don't see any way. Like I said, you've got the Raiders twice, so that's should be 2 wins.
Chiefs twice.
Chiefs twice, but they're beatable.
They are beatable.
And you really, really hope. I don't think it'll happen, but maybe Surtain is back by that game. We'll see. Mm-hmm. That would be a huge boom for the Broncos, and their defense is very susceptible. And then you got Washington, who's lost their quarterback for possibly the year.
Mm-hmm.
You've got the Jags, who've been very up and down. You've got another game against the Chargers at home. So
last game of the year.
Yeah. So you've got some really good opportunities here to like I said, be 13-4. And talking about top of the class, we got Michael Ronquillo coming in with $5 super saying, good evening, Nick and Carl. I'm building the Broncos. Go Bo Broncos. Good to see you, Michael. And, I was wearing the Knicks jersey again. My family has been in this. Everybody wears the same jersey until we lose again.
Mm-hmm.
And my wife's been in panic mode because she's in the military.
Yeah.
And we'll see if they're going to meet in December or not. But she does, the once a month go for the weekend. And she was like, I don't know what I'm going to do. I can't take the jersey with me. She's like, they have very strict codes about what you're allowed to wear. And I said, you can't wear it under your uniform? She said, nope, they will check. And I told her, if we lose that game, I am telling everybody that it is your fault. So
she needs to get it tattooed on, really to commit to the bit at this point. Although then you can't take it off. But,
well, she said the only thing that she gets control is underwear. So I told her I might just have to get her some Bronco underwear.
God bless. I wear mine all the time. I'm wearing some right now when I do wear underwear. Did want to say hello to the great one coming in here. I see your Teen Titans profile picture there. What's the slate or something? I loved Teen Titans back when I was, 5th grade, 6th grade, and still great. It says Waddle wouldn't have made a difference considering three things. So $9.99. Thank you, the great one. An offense that's still inconsistent and failing to execute. Sean Payton's inconsistent play calling and Bo's fluky deep ball. Coaching first. I mean, I'll even go one before you. Execution first. I don't know. I have had some time to watch the games as I've been, trying to. I do have a full-time job coming up here pretty soon. God bless. But I've had time to go back and watch the All-22. And to the best of my ability, with going through progression, because you don't know the play, but you have idea of concepts and stuff. Guys are open. No, they're not always making the catch. Blocks aren't always happening properly. Screens. A quarterback sometimes bailing on the pocket too early or getting the check down too early. I mean, maybe some of the sequencing. I think the designs are pretty good, and I think Sean Payton he's an a-hole, but he's our a-hole, and he's a damn good offensive designer. So I do think coaching matters, but I think it's more execution at the end of the day. And it's hard to execute. Let's be fair. It's not, this isn't Georgia versus, God, I'll take a shot here. Alcorn State. Go Steve McNair. So the talent disparity is not crazy, but I think it's more execution at the end of the day. And I do think Waddle would have made a difference, but I think after the Sauce Gardner trade, 2 firsts going out there and a solid cost control wide receiver heading back to the Jets, Quinnen Williams getting a second this year and a first in 2027. I think the Dolphins were like, hey, first, not going to cut it anymore. We want a first and a 2 or something more. And I would have been okay with a first and they send back a 4th and maybe you subsequently trade one of your wide receivers, probably Troy Franklin, in a move. But if it's your first round pick and let's say your 3rd this year, I don't know. That's a harder ask for me. I think Waddle is a top 15 wide receiver in football, 26 years old. But there's good wide receivers pretty much every year in the draft as well. Now, it's always a 50-50, for that shot. Are you going to get Treylon Burks? Or are you going to get Garrett Wilson? Who knows? We'll see. But I applaud them for having a price and not getting desperate and feeling like, oh, we're so close. Let's just give them what they want. I do applaud that.
Yeah, I do too. I do think Waddle makes at least a little bit of a difference. Broncos are second in the league in drops. So it's not just the quarterback messing up. It's not just coaches making bad calls. Wide receivers are not doing their job. Even Cortland Sutton has been a part of those drops. The last 2 weeks, he's had drops. So getting a guy that has consistent hands like Waddle, who can take a 5-yard pass and turn it into a 30, 40-yard play, that's a big part of Sean Payton's system. I think he would have been a really good fit. But like you said, you don't want to sell the house just to fix something this year. You want to be able to look long-term and short-term in what you're doing. And we got the great one coming back in again saying trading Vele was a mistake. He was our only middle of the field target last season. SP has to fill that gap with Bryant or Ingram somehow. I really don't think Vele he was decent for us. But when you can get a fourth round pick for a guy that was his age, is not going to get that big second contract, and had an okay rookie season. I wouldn't say it was great. I think it was
Great
just
for a
more than we
seventh-round
thought.
pick.
Yeah, it was great for where he was picked.
Yeah.
And so far this year, it's not like he's been lighting it up down there for the Saints. You know, he's got like 5 catches on the season. So I'm not sure that he would have been the difference maker of getting this offense to a better place. You're right. Bryant and Ingram, those are 2 guys that have really got to take a step up over the second half of the season. I think Bryant's going to get more run. He's proven to be a very, very quality guy in the run game. He's proving to be a more of a receiving threat. I mean, you're talking about guys running open. That guy is getting open a lot. Mm-hmm. And Ingram, he's getting open. It's just he and Bo Nix are not on the same page at all. Yeah. There's a chemistry thing that's missing there. And you hope, like I said, as the season goes on, Bo Nix calms down on some of these throws. Ingram takes that step up to be that true number 2 target guy that we were hoping he would be coming into the season. And like I said, Bryant proving that he can become a number 2 wide receiver for you. I don't think Franklin's all of a sudden going to take another step. He's been decent, but every single game, pretty much, we can go back and watch. He has a bad drop. He has the fumble. He's not great at contested catches. He has to have space to make the catch and to run. That's what he's good at. Mm-hmm. And as a number 2, you expect a guy that can actually go be consistent catching the ball, and he just isn't that guy for you. And Mims is not a great route runner, so he can't be your number 2 either.
You're going to have to play complementary scheme-up football with your pass game, which Sean Payton's done a lot. You wish you had a Michael Thomas level wide receiver that you could funnel the game through. And while Cortland Sutton's really good, he's not Michael Thomas at his peak.
Right.
So really, it's going to come down to the quarterback at the end of the day, just as it always does. I mean, again, I don't remember where I said things, Carl, but said at the beginning of the season, what can make the Broncos contenders? You stay healthy, you hit above average on your health, your quarterback takes a step, maybe 2. I feel like right now, Bo Nix, probably about the same level as last season, but there's still time to, take a step forward. Not the same as the beginning of the season, but I feel like he hasn't taken a step from the level we saw week 9 and on last year. Some of the same issues, which is still, I mean, you're talking about a middle of the pack quarterback on a rookie contract when it's hard to find quarterbacks. Like, that's fine. I mean, you can to Brock Purdy your way pretty far with good scheme and design around him. And I think Bo Nix can get better. I think we're close with a lot of things. So we'll see with that. But I think you have just a lot of complementary pieces right now. Not a lot of pieces that are outside of Cortland Sutton, pretty darn difference makers. And sorry, I think it's bath time if you hear any crying in the background. It's not just me. DW coming in with the $100 super chat. Man, this is incredible. We don't see the flash of the red very often. So thank you so much. Yeah. What the heck? That? Amazing. DW, thank you. He says, Nick and Carl, was great to see you at the meet and greet. It was so great to see you as well. Praying Denver does not take Las Vegas for granted as a win. Listening to the coaches and today in today's press conference, I would say they are definitely not taking it lightly. They are. It's Raider hate week, baby, and they're wearing the throwbacks at home. I mean, you gotta take advantage of that. He says, I gotta say, I like Abrams' drain. Though smaller than PS2, he plays more physical, which I like. That hit on Stroud was clean and cherry. Aloha, MHH for life, Broncos for life. Well, thank you so much, DW. We appreciate you so much. Yeah, Chris Abrams' drain is a really useful piece. And what is he, year 2? 5th round pick. Another reason you're not just throwing around picks willy-nilly. Scouting department's found some good hits here and there. And while I don't know if he's ever going to be a plus starter in the league, to have him as your 4th or 5th cornerback in rotation, I mean, a lot of teams would kill for that. I mean, so I'm really happy to have him here. I'll be curious to see the snap usage in this upcoming game, especially when you have Brock Bowers. I don't know if you noticed, Carl, early on in base, a lot of more base stuff. You saw Barron out there opposite of Riley Moss, and then when they went more nickel, depending on the pass situation down a distance, you'd saw Chris Abrams drain out there with McMillan in the slot and then Moss. So I do think Chris Abrams drain had more snaps than Barron, but this is a Brock Bowers game. I could see Barron getting more because he's tended to be more of the tight end eraser for the defensive packages.
Yeah, I've loved how they've used Barron. I know it's been sparingly. I know most of us would love to see him get a few more snaps, but having a guy that can go match up with a tight end like Bowers and not be in a completely negative situation one-on-one allows this defense to continue to do what it's doing. And Abrams Drain, like you said, there was a time before Surtain went down with injury that there was talk the Broncos were looking to trade McMillan because they really loved Chris Abrams Drain and they love Barron and how he's grown in his game, and thought not that McMillan was expendable, but kind of like, hey, this is a nice piece we could get a good draft pick for and not feel like we're going to have this giant drop off in talent on the field. And then Surtain went down, and it's kind of we've got to stick with this. It's kind of Broncos had a deal in place for a tight end, and then a tight end went down with injury on that team that they had to deal with. So the trade didn't happen. It was Green Bay, if anybody's asking. I know there's been some reporters out there that have put that information out publicly, so it's not anything new or anything like that. But no, DW, thank you so much for this. And you're right. I do love Abrams Drain. I'm not worried about the Raiders with this secondary, especially after they traded Jacoby Myers. You know, that's the nice thing for the Broncos is at least the trades that were made, they almost hurt the rest of the AFC West more than they hurt the Broncos. Because you look at Chiefs still have to play Indy. So now they've got to go against that great secondary that they're going to have now with Sauce Korner. They still have to play the Cowboys, who just traded for Quinnen Williams. Now, they still don't have a secondary, so they're not going to be great, but it's still an upgrade over what they've had for sure. And we'll have to play the Jaguars still. So I guess that's one piece. We'll have to still play Jacoby Myers, but not having to play him twice makes a big difference because he has actually been really, really good against the Broncos. For some reason, that guy has some of his best games of the year saved for the Broncos. Just like, what was their running back's name?
Josh Jacobs.
Yeah, Josh Jacobs. Every year, it was like he saved his best game for the Broncos. I don't know why. They really loved beating up on the Broncos, even they were a bad team. Yeah. So hopefully Ashton Genty doesn't pick up that mantle and take over this kind of game. But no, Jacoby Myers being gone, big help this week, especially with our secondary missing Surtain. I think you can really match up well in this one.
Yeah, and the Raiders understandably are underdogs, and we don't like underdogs when they're the Raiders, obviously, but we do like an underdog here at Mile High Huddle.
That's right. And because football season is in full swing, an underdog really is the best place to get in on all the action. Are you ready to get off the bench and into the game? Then head over to Underdog. Whether you're into basketball, football, hockey, or any sport in between, Underdog is the best place to get in on all the action all season long.
That's right. Playing Underdog is easy. Just pick whether your favorite teams will go higher or lower on stats such as rushing yards, receptions, touchdowns, and more. I saw the spread on the Iowa and Oregon game dropped because there's going to be a little rain there. So big game for my Hawkeyes and big game, obviously, Thursday for the Broncos. Get to 8-2. So get your picks right, and you could win up to 5,000 times your cash.
Yes, you can go have so much fun playing Underdog and winning money while watching football. That's a touchdown, you guys. Download the Underdog app today and sign up with promo code MHuddle to score $100 in bonus entries when you play your first $5. That's promo code MHuddle. Millions of fans have already won billions making picks on Underdog. Will you be next?
Be 18 plus, 19 plus in Alabama and Nebraska, 19 plus in Colorado for some games, 21 plus in Arizona, Massachusetts, and Virginia, and present in a state where Underdog Fantasy operates. Terms apply. See assets.underdogfantasy.com/web/play and get terms _DFS_.html for details. Offer not valid in Maryland, Michigan, New Jersey, Ohio, and Pennsylvania. Concerned with your play? Call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit ncpgambling.org. In New York, call the 24/7 Hope line at 1-877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY 467-369.
Well, thanks to Underdog. Did want to say hello to a bunch more people coming in here. I see our guy Phil McLaughlin coming in. Always good to see Phil. Good evening, Nick, Carl, and Deacon Scott. Let's hope something gets done to fix the special teams. Yeah, I felt really bad in hindsight on yesterday morning because I spent like 7 minutes like railing against special teams. Like, wait a second, this team is 7-2. Like, why am I so negative right now? I'm sorry. I apologize for those who were there this morning. It's just bad special teams and lack of execution specifically drives me insane because it seems like it's something that's very correctable and it's the fine details. So unforced errors like alignment penalties, pre-snap procedural stuff, and special teams. God, drives me nuts. I wouldn't be very fun to be around. And I don't know if you saw kind of Sean Payton getting a little testy with some of the media, as well as some of the both frustrated with special teams, guys getting out there late, but then correcting or saying twice that's about guys getting out there, not necessarily the coaching staff. But regardless, we all have eyes, and we also have stats that say the Broncos special teams, outside of the specialists themselves, shout out to Crawshaw and Lutz, have been bad this season, and they've survived it for the most part this season, 7-2. But eventually that feels like that's a chicken that's going to come home to roost, right? That's just like, you got to clean that up.
It's cost you games. I mean, the Indy game is a very obvious one with a stupid penalty.
Yeah.
Especially when they're kicking a 60-plus yarder, which, I mean, those are getting easier for kickers these days. I mean, somebody made a 68-yarder this last weekend. Thankfully, it was against the Raiders.
Yeah.
But still, the odds are most kickers are going to miss that on a 50-50 basis at least.
More than
a brand new kicker to the league who hadn't kicked anything over, I think it was like 45 yards at that point.
Yeah.
And you go and do something like that to give him an extra chance. Just stupid. Like you said, that's the pulling the hair out thing. I know you have your hair out. I don't. But it's just mental mistakes that keep costing this team. So we'll move on from it because, like I said, Broncos are 7-2. Best we've been in a very, very long time, leading the division, almost
6-game winning conference.
Streak. Yeah, 6-game winning streak. So we can't complain a whole lot. It's just when you see that this could be what costs you in the future, like you said, in the playoffs, where one bad mistake on special teams could be the make or break of a game, you've got to clean this up sooner than later.
Yeah, no doubt about that. Did see David T coming in here, coming off 3 surgeries. Wanted to give you a shout out, David. Hope you're doing well. That's a lot of time with recovery and hanging out with doctors. And I work with doctors, so I can tell you that's too much for me. So shout out to you. Hope you're doing well. Hopefully the Broncos, didn't let you down today, not making a move. We got Donald Olmstead coming in. Saw you on Twitter earlier, Donald. Good to see you. So good evening, guys. 2 1s for Waddle was too much. I like the guys we have, and there's guys like Jeremy Bernard and Shadiq Khan that will help sustain us. These must be 2 guys coming up in the draft, potentially. Is Sadiq the Oregon tight end? I'm still bad with names. There's an Oregon tight end who's really good. I don't know who Jeremy Bernard is off the top of my head. The big 4 wide receivers right now are Tate, Lemon, obviously the Tyson from Arizona State, and then Bell from Louisville. But I got to say, Broncos playing really well right now, and I have not spent too much time on the draft yet. That'll be coming here pretty soon. Winter can get long. Jeremy Bernard. Oh, wait a second. Jeremy Bernard, slot receiver from Alabama.
Yes, there you go.
Okay. Yeah. No, he's fine. He's more of a day two guy probably. See, I have watched some, but I think that's probably more of a solid slot /Z, but doesn't really bring that explosive element. But man, he's cliche. You're one of those like hardworking kind of guys. So he's a smart, good player.
Yeah, I think the part that for you and me with the trade deadline is the Broncos really do have an incredible chance this year.
Mm-hmm.
And you just don't get these kind of chances very often in the NFL, especially when you're in the same division with Justin Herbert and Patrick Mahomes. It's going to be tough to stay at the top of the division over and over and over again.
Yeah.
And so when you've got an opportunity like this, where you do have the 2-game lead over the Chiefs, they're a little bit down. The AFC in general is down right now. You've got Indy that's up there. Patriots, I'm still trying to figure out, are they really real, or is it just their schedule's been this easy?
Yeah.
I'm not 100% sure.
And they got a good coach,
they do.
So they'll be a tough out. Yeah.
Right. So, like I said, there's no clear cut, hey, this is the best team in the AFC right now.
No.
And the Broncos could have that argument. So it's just hard when you've got that opportunity. And like I said, getting the number 1 seed, every game having to be played in Denver for that defense, that would be fun. Watching quarterbacks have to not not being able to snap the ball without just having to clap or whatever. That would be nice for our defense. Talking about nice, we got Ralph coming in. saying, Carl Dumler and Nick, what's up, buddies? Nick, that baby of yours is the cutest thing ever.
Thanks, Ralph.
George Payton doesn't like to give up any draft capital, which is frustrating. Brees Hall could have been ours for a third. Would you give up Savion Jones for Brees effing Hall?
I don't think the Broncos were in the market for a running back. J.K. Dobbins has played pretty well, and R.J. Harvey is tied for third in the league in touchdown for rookies. Now, granted, he needs to run the ball better, but I think after Harvey's emergence as a pass catcher, Denver really wasn't in the market for a running back, I believe. Now, wide receiver, I guess we can talk about it here. Everybody's talked about it. Sean Payton in the Coach Speak. Have you ever seen the Coach Speak Index Twitter account? But he talked about, I heard about that. That's kind of silly. We like the guys we have here. Of course you say that after you don't make a move. What's a coach going to say? It's like when they come to the draft. Oh, we have the number one guy on our board every single time we picked, and we couldn't believe he was there. Like, that's great. Yeah, well, we got 3 first-round grades on the whole draft. Sure. But Broncos, they were looking to make some wide receiver moves, it seemed like. Waddle was the one. I didn't hear the 2 firsts, which we had from Donald talking about that. I heard a first and a plus was, I think, first and a third is probably a lot. I would have given up the first, I think, given where Denver is going to be picking, the years of control with him, and just he's a totally different skill set than the guys you have, more of a proven commodity, and it lines up with your offensive line defense and the rookie cost control quarterback. A first and a 3, though. Could I interest you in Troy Franklin instead? Like maybe then I'll do that. But not that I think Troy Franklin's trash. It's just that extra years of cost control and guys getting pushed down, target share, all that stuff. So I don't know. It is what it is. I do think this is not based on anything I heard, but I do think, Carl, that the Broncos were in on, or at least calling about Garrett Wilson after the Jets were a fire sale, obviously, or somewhat. They're selling like crazy today. Jets, I don't think they're looking to get rid of their young offensive talent because they're trying to build a good infrastructure for their quarterback. So they are selling on defense, not so much on offense. Garrett Wilson would have interested me as well. And then also, I think Denver was probably interested in Rashid Shaheed for the Saints as well, but the 4th and the 5th from the Seahawks get it done. So those are your 3 right there. As you alluded to earlier, Carl, I'll just tell you what I heard. And it's been from multiple people. So maybe it's all the same source and feeding down to multiple people and then to us as well, whatever. But the Broncos did allegedly have a deal in place for former 2nd-round pick out of Oregon State tight end Luke Musgrave with the Packers. And then Tucker Kraft suffers a season-ending Achilles injury. I always get those 2 confused. I know they're different, but I can never remember which one is which when the injury happens. But after that injury happened, deal pulled off the table. So there goes Denver's chance at a low-round pick for a tight end upgrade. And that's that. Denver sounds like they were pretty aggressive with pursuing Waddle, but they weren't willing to give up that first plus at the end of the day. And therefore, you like the guys that you have. And we do have a Troy Franklin quote I want to get into in a bit because he was asked about him. He was probably the guy who would have been the most upset with the move. But it's ACL. Thank you, Michael, for that. But no move. At the end of the day, I don't mind it too much, but it's not as exciting today for sure.
I think it's tough when you had so many of the national media guys going like, yep, Broncos looking like they're going to do something. I get it. Us fans would go a little bit crazy with some of that stuff, but when the national guys are going, I think it was closer than people realize.
Mm-hmm.
I think it really is, though. Like I said, when the Jets were getting so much in return, so it wasn't like a true fire sale. It was, no, we're getting really good return for the players that were like, yes, these guys are talented, but for a team that's in complete rebuild mode at this point, and as you said, needing to probably surround a new quarterback with more than what they have right now, the trades made sense for them. I'm with you. Who would you have rather had, Waddle or Garrett Wilson?
I would need to look at the contracts side by side, but whichever one costed less. I think Wilson brings more of a explosive schemer element, like getting the ball in his hands and some of the screens and whatnot and decompressing the defense. He's better at tracking the football vertically than Mims or Franklin right now. Wilson's much more refined. I feel like Waddle's probably better for Bo Nix right now, but maybe 2-3 years from now, Wilson would be better. Now give me whichever one's cheaper. I think they're both fantastic.
Yeah, but you're right. I do think the Broncos were actively trying to get something done, and they recognize they have a problem on this team. And I had somebody on Twitter, because I had said something about the Broncos missing an opportunity here with some of this, and they said, "Well, what about Bo Nix?" And I was like, "Well, yes, he is a problem. He's not been perfect. He's had some great moments. He's got some great things to his game that you can build around, but there's some things that he needs to fix too. But you're not fixing the quarterback position in the trade deadline. You can fix a little bit of your weapons issue and bringing in a guy like Waddle or Garrett Wilson and giving you a little bit more of a consistent number two, even in some ways, maybe your number one. I mean, right now, if you traded for Waddle, he would be the leading receiver on this team. Statistically, he's got better statistics than Sutton right now.
Some of that's obviously the defense on one side and playing ball control versus Dolphins,
right.
Stop
but I'm saying it's not like a true number one Sutton, true number two. It's, hey, no, you've got true weapons on the outside that you can work with. And
two top 20, two top 25 wide receivers.
Right. And they can help clean up some things that have been a problem. Yes, Bo Nix has plenty to clean up, but the receivers have not been what you hope they would be. Now, part of it is everybody gets to that dreaded word potential. Like, well, Franklin, he took this really big step. Maybe he can take another step. And I get that, but you're also missing an opportunity this year. You don't know what that's going to be next year. Maybe he takes a step back next year. That's happened before. Mims, is he ever going to become more than just a special teams returner / gadget guy on offense? I don't know. I'm not banking on that he's going to be more than that right now. Pat Bryant's probably the guy I have the most hope of actually being a real contributor on this offense consistently moving forward. I really like his game, not only as a run blocker, but I love his hands. I think he's probably got the best hands on the team. And then, like I said, Ingram, he's got to become a much bigger part of this because they haven't made this trade. But that's where I'm just missing out on Waddle. Like you said, I was not going to be willing to give up more than a first. I was really hoping that it'd only cost a second. Miami pretty much was like, nope, it's going to be a first. And I get it. He's 26 years old. You've got him for the next 4 or 5 years as a really good receiver for you. And so they had a piece. They're not going to let him go for nothing. But I just think the Broncos, I'm really worried about how they're going to make this offense truly functional to go win a championship.
It's going to come down to the quarterback at the end of the day. He's got to play more consistent. And we've had the fourth quarter stuff, which has been great. And there's been flashes, of course, but the down to down, consistency hasn't been there yet, but it can be. I think you watch the tape, some of it's close. So we will see how that plays out. Again, I would have been fine giving up the first time with you, the first plus Garrett Wilson, Waddle. I mean, my dream would have been, you give out 2 firsts. Let's see. Is Atlanta pick up the phone? What's going on with Drake London? You haven't paid him yet. We'll happily pay him. Scott. God, he's unbelievable. He'd be incredible in Denver because he just blocks his butt off. Michael Thomas reincarnate with less attitude. He's a hell of a player. But Denver didn't make a move. We'll see what happens. And we do have some quotes here from Troy Franklin specifically, who the Waddle move probably would have eaten most into his role in this offense. Pat Bryant's a different kind of player. Mims has the special teams gadget role, which Waddle would have eaten into some of it. But really, that's the Troy Franklin. And Troy Franklin did have a comment. Shout out to Luca Evans. He had a comment for him. He asked him if he felt the team's decision to not trade for a wide receiver showed confidence in him and the young receivers. Troy Franklin said, hell yeah. I think it gives everybody confidence. Not that we're worried about somebody coming to take our job or anything, but we don't have to worry about that. And we can just really go out there and play. He's been telling us that he loves this team. He got everything he wants in the building, and he's kept his word. So, I mean, I just go off of Sean's word. He told us that we got everything we need in this building and pretty much all that. The Broncos need other receivers. Outside speculation, so it's really not coming from the building. I don't know, Troy. I think the call might have been coming from inside the house. Denver There's also, this is not as substantiated as obviously all the rumors about looking for a wide receivers trade deadline, but there's been some rumors that the Broncos got sniped potentially with the 20th pick, not thinking the Tampa Bay Buccaneers would be taking Egbuka at 19. And that was our guy. That one's, again, that's not as substantiated as all these people talk about the Broncos trying to make a move for a wide receiver. They didn't make a move. Troy, Mims, Pat, step up. I know it's not all on them at the end of the day, but you have a golden opportunity now. And if the level of play we've gotten through the first 9 games of the season is the baseline for the next 8, bet your ass they're looking for a wide receiver and adding to the room, draft, trading for a guy. It's not good enough right now for where this team is at and what they need around the quarterback.
Yeah. But what is good enough is DW coming in once again now with the orange, loving the orange. Says, we have a shot postseason, but it's hard to feel good about our chances when lack of discipline shows up. Well-coached, disciplined teams with talent win Super Bowls. Still a lot of coaching to do. We have time to work it out. Yeah, I always think of the Patriots all those years. The most maddening thing was most games, they just waited for the other team to make the mistake. They just were so well-coached, well-disciplined. Some of that's they also cheated to get there as well, but they didn't make the mistake. They didn't make the turnover. They didn't have the bad special teams play. They didn't have to waste a timeout that other teams would waste because not the right personnel were on the field. All those kind of things. They focused on the little details, and Sean Payton's usually been, for the most part, a guy of little details, other than like he lets his guys play a little bit loose and it leads to some bad penalties. But the special teams problems, I think, have been the biggest thing for me. Like I said, there's been other things that have happened. The defensive penalties don't bother me as much because it's going to come with the brand of defense that you play. When you are playing this aggressive, getting after the quarterback, playing this much man coverage, you're going to have some of these kind of penalties that happen. And some of them, it's getting frustrating because the officials are just really looking for it with the Broncos, especially Riley Moss. And so now they're calling things that I don't think they'd call on every cornerback. But you're right, DW. They've got to get more disciplined. They've got to stop wasting opportunities because stupid penalties stop drives from happening on offense, or giving more opportunities on defense. And like I said, special teams. It is maddening where the Broncos go down and score, and then they give off a giant kickoff return that gets them right into field goal position already for the other team. And you've already put your defense in a bad position. The Houston, I mean, the defense played that game where pretty much Houston should have only scored like 6 points. Mm-hmm. But because of turnovers and bad special teams, it kept putting them in just such a negative position that they had no choice but to give up 3 points, unless they got a turnover. And so I don't know. We got 8 weeks to figure out if they can get to a better place. I'm not 100% sure that'll happen, though.
Yeah. Time to figure it out. Good to see you, DW. Appreciate you so much. And yeah, the young receivers, right now, they're more potential than realization. I mean, you look at the advanced statistics, whether it be total EPA, targets per route run, yards per route run, they're outside the top 50 in every single one. Now, granted, is it the wide receiver's fault? Is it the quarterback's fault? It's somebody's fault at the end of the day. So I'll leave that for the chat to decide where you want to place blame for the down-to-down efficiency and some of the consistency that the pass game doesn't have right now. But I will say, Carl, the one thing I really love about having this first round pick, and yes, we can talk about the weapons and all that stuff at the end of the day, wide receiver, they're sexy, but what's making this team 7-2 right now, what's their identity, is they probably are one of the top 3, if not the best team in the trenches on both sides of the ball combined. And you have your first round pick, you kept all your assets, the offensive line is getting older, you probably want to get an infusion of talent there, you're set to lose 2 of your top 4 interior defensive linemen. We'll see if anything comes of that. But the wide receivers are always fun, sexy, big stats, fantasy football, all that. The identity of this team is the trenches. So you have your first round pick. You have 5 picks in the top 4 rounds. You can continue to invest on that side of the ball. So yes, wide receiver this season, needle mover. I'm here for the identity continue to be invested in, even if it's at the cost of some dynamism on the perimeter. Because what's the Bengals getting right now from having those guys? Not much. They're getting blown up on the line of scrimmage.
Quarterback's getting hurt.
It'd be great. It'd be great to have, no doubt. It'd be great to have, but it starts up front.
Yeah, I'm with you. You want to keep those units strong, especially if Bo Nix is going to be your guy. He needs good protection. I mean, not only to keep him healthy, but I think he's a much, much better quarterback, obviously, when he's protected. And then the run game, too. I mean, we're getting ready to play Ashton Genty. Should be a top 10 running back in football, and maybe he is. But we really don't know because that offensive line is so bad in front of him, he stands no chance. He's getting hit in the backfield I don't know how many times and pretty much having to break 2-3 tackles just to pick up 4 yards. Great news for the Broncos this week, but I think part of what's getting J.K. Dobbins to go, now he's always been a good running back, but still he's getting some really good lanes to run through. They're getting better as the season goes on. That's what's been really nice to see. They're figuring each other out, and hopefully you can get RJ Harvey going on a little bit more consistent basis with the run game, not just in the pass game. And then all of a sudden you really take off with the run game. But like I said, Bo Nix, having that kind of protection, huge asset for him. And the nice thing is you could probably draft a guy that you think can play tackle, put him at the left guard spot. Plenty of guys have done that to start off their NFL career, start on the inside, work their way to the outside as another player gets older. And, you've got 2 tackles, like you said, they're getting a little bit up in age. Contracts are big, and you're going to have to figure out something to do there eventually. And so I'm good with that. I'm even good adding to the defensive line. You're maybe going to lose John Franklin Myers or Malcolm Roach.
And
you want to keep, I don't know. I hope they sign at least one of those guys. I mean, I would love John Franklin Myers to come back. Really, I'd love both of them, but John Franklin Myers, I think he is one of the most underrated players in the NFL right now. That guy lives in the backfield. It is so fun to watch him play football. And as much as I love Savion Jones and think that he can become a plus player, he's not John Franklin Myers. That's for sure. So we'll have to see what happens there. But yeah, you need to keep that unit strong too, where you have a great rotation coming in and the Broncos can keep this great pass rush that is just dominating up front moving forward. And we got Phil McLaughlin coming back in saying 2 things I really want to see happen. Special teams actually plays good, and D actually gets some turnovers. Yeah, it's the one thing that this defense is missing so far this year. And I'm trying to think of how many interceptions Hufanga has dropped now this year. I could think of at least 3, maybe 4.
2 or 3.
Yeah. And I mean, he's been a godsend for this defense. I mean, how many times did we talk especially the Bills game last year? That was part of what I talked about with when we lost to the Bills. What was part of the problem? Receivers dropping balls in that game. I think we had 5 drops in that game that all of them were right around the first down marker, would have kept drives going. Maybe that changes the game. And then middle of the field play. PJ Locke was not good last year in that game. Linebackers were terrible. Now you've got Greenlaw, who is playing lights out, at least in the couple games he's played in. Hufanga has been you've got Surtain, but you can make the argument right now. Hufanga, I guess I can't forget Nick Benito either. I mean, there's just so many really good players. Like, you could make the argument all these guys are deserving of an all-pro season right now. They're playing at that kind of level. And so I love having Hufanga. He is flying around the field, great coming down for the run, doing great in coverage. And that's part of what has really changed the dynamic of this defense compared to last year.
Yeah, I mean, Hufanga, Greenlaw, and everybody. I mean, the continuity too, right? So you're 3 with Vance Joseph for a lot of these guys. So they are really great on defense. Yeah, the big thing is they need to start taking the ball away more. Real test coming up here, but you can't overlook the Raiders as well. Maybe Geno Smith can turn on the takeaway giveaway faucet here, and we can ride that through to the Chiefs game as well. And Mariota after that, because man, he's I'll never forget the Falcons at Carolina game when he threw it backwards off his head. I mean, one of the worst throws I ever saw in my life. What the hell are you doing, Mariota? Yeah, I'd love to see the special teams play better and the defense start to take the ball away. I'd also like to see, I think some of it was scheme. Sean, I don't know, again, Sean Payton's press conference today, I think it was Sean, maybe it was Joe Lombardi, but he mentioned that Houston had been much more of a cover 4, 2 high team this season, and they got a lot more single high safety than they expected, and that might have changed the plan, but Bo Nix put the ball in harm's way a lot in this game. Denver was pretty lucky that Bo Nix didn't have 3 interceptions. You can do that with a lot of quarterbacks here or there. I'm just talking about this single sample. But got to protect the freaking football as well. That's a tried and true method. And the one I'll have to go back, Carl, and maybe do a little bit of analysis here, but it goes with takeaways and it goes with special teams. There cannot be many games this year where the Broncos have had an advantage in starting field position. Now, Crawshaw's helped with that a bit, but when you're not taking the ball away, which is like the number one way to get great special field position, and you have so many terrible kickoffs and punt returns and penalties on special teams, you're going to lose the starting field position. And that's just, it's got to drive Sean Payton insane. It's driving me insane. So all those kind of go together, but I would be pretty surprised if Denver wasn't bottom 3rd or 4th in the league in starting field position because of the issues they've had with special teams and the lack of takeaways.
I wouldn't be shocked either. I would almost bet on it at this point. So somebody in the chat wants to find that out for us, that we would greatly appreciate it. But I do think the turnovers will start to come.
I hope so.
They've had opportunities. I mean, they've just had. I mean, you think about that Giants game before the pass interference that got the Giants in the scoring position. They had 2 dropped interceptions. Surtain dropped one. Hufanga dropped one, or I guess Jones dropped that one, and Hufanga kind of came over and hit him. But so they had those opportunities this last game. Hufanga had at least 2 or 3 opportunities for interceptions, dropped them. I remember he had one where he's rushing the quarterback, and the quarterback just threw it right at his head, and it just bounced off his hands. And so, yeah, those have been some things that you look at and say, man, how does that change the game? Instead of having to have this 4th quarter cardiac moment, wondering if we're going to be able to make the comeback, maybe it ends in a blowout if that's going on. And, Houston, maybe that's not quite the game that it was. If they get a couple of those turnovers and the offense has an opportunity. Pick 6, man, that we haven't seen one of those for a while. Surtain, the last one against the Raiders. Was that our last pick 6? Or no Browns game.
The Browns game had one. And the Colts game, that was a fumble return for a touchdown technically, right? Like that was one as well, but it was actually a fumble because it was a backwards pass that Benito picked off.
Okay, yeah, I think you're right.
I think the Colts, yeah. It'd be great to get a defensive turnover. They're hitting the quarterback so much. Can we get a strip sack? For God's sake. Like, what's going on? Like,
yeah, I don't know how there's been so many times, like I watched the ball moving in the quarterback's hand, but they just hold on to it every single time.
Karate chop, baby. Come on, what's going on?
Yeah. But what is going on? Michael coming back in saying, great show tonight, Nick and Carl, on building the Broncos. Go Bo Broncos. Thank you again, Michael, for coming in with all the support. And yeah, I mean, as disappointed as I am in today, I'm not disappointed in the Broncos. Maybe I've been a little too negative just because I'm a little bit let down by the trade deadline and not making at least a little bit of a move. Mm-hmm. But at the same time, I'm loving this team. I love the way that they play for the most part. Yes, they got to get more disciplined, but they're flying around the field. They find a way to win games. Last year, they found ways to lose games. I think Zach Allen was talking about that not too long ago. I think what were they, like 1-6 last year in 1-score games, and this year they are 5-2.
5-2. That tends to be 500 over a long enough sample size, so it should normalize. Hopefully, we beat the tar out of the Raiders. We can start stacking some, more than 1-score wins here. But just because that's better for the perspective of the team going forward. But a win's a win's a win. Just know that always kind of tends to even out over time. I do have some stats here for you, Carl. The Broncos have the 9th worst average starting field position for the offense so far this season. Very few teams with winning records are actually better than the Broncos on that front. So that's something to keep an eye on. The starting field position's just been, simply put, not good enough. The Broncos, actually, this is a per drive stat, they're tied for the 2nd worst takeaways per drive of any team in football this season. So let's turn that faucet on, boys. There's some room to grow. There's room to improve there. Defense has been playing great. Takeaways are the difference between very good and great. Though Michael Ronquillo, great to see you. Thank you so much, Michael. Great show today. Summit says hi. I know Michael always loves to say hello to Summit as well. So yeah, we do want to get out of here pretty soon. The Broncos obviously don't make a move. They stand pat. Sounds like they were aggressively pursuing Waddle, but the cost was too much in the end, is what it is. That to me means the wide receiver room. We like the guys we have for the cost that was available to go again. I think Waddle's top 10, borderline top 10, honestly. But I think the wide receivers are on notice for the play for the rest of the season, for off-season positional upgrade watch. They're young. There's the dreaded P word potential, but I mean, we'll see. Yeah, you got 8 games here. And yeah, Denver excited. I guess this is their last game here. I'm going to take the Broncos beating the Raiders. I think it's going to be kind of a boring game, and Denver's going to control the pace of the game. I'm going to go Denver winning this one 27-13. I think there's not going to be a lot of possessions. Denver has long drives, and they just control it. It's not going to be a massive high-flying output from the offense, but from like a per possession, good game.
I'll go 28-10.
Okay.
Like I said, I think do what?
4 touchdowns. My fantasy team won't like that. I got Lutz, who's on the injury report today with an illness, so we'll be watching out for that.
No, I just think the Raiders defense, I don't think they're going to be great. I think the offense is going to get things going in the first half, score 21 of their points in the first half. Second half, they're just going to really go into the run game, control that clock, move the ball. And I just don't think they fear this Raiders offense. They're okay. They do have a couple weapons. I'm not trying to say that they're terrible, but this offensive line, not good. Broncos should be getting after Geno Smith. And when you get after him, you can force some big turnovers from him. He gets jumpy. And this year he's been not great in that department. He's been turning the ball over about as much as any quarterback out there. So I do think the Broncos could force a couple turnovers, maybe get a couple easy scores that way. And you're right. I think this is one of those games the Broncos don't wait until the last second to win the game.
Man, no injuries. That's a big one. Let's get a dub, and God, sitting there 8-2 would feel really good. Could really step on the throats of the Chiefs if you win that next one. Denver will not be favored, I think, per Vegas. Andy Reid's record coming off a bye, so it's like 24-4 or something unbelievable. But, these are the games you want to be in. So trade deadline comes and goes, Carl. Quiet. It's all good. Denver's got a lot of picks. Makes April, March, February a little bit more fun and enjoyable. We'll see. I know there was a lot of Denver media saying like, well, now Denver's going to be aggressive in free agency. Maybe I would be fine if they were retaining some of their own talent. I don't know if you looked at the list of free agents. It's not exciting, and half the top guys are always signed before free agency anyway. So talk to me when the actual pool's available, but we'll see what happens. Appreciate everybody coming in here. All the super chats. You guys are killing it. Really wanted to give a shout out to D-Dub. 2 big super chats, $125 as well. You guys are killing it. Papa Bear, Michael Ronquillo, of course, the great one. Appreciate you. Phil, always in here hanging out. Good to see you, Donald. Don Olmstead. Ralph, good to see you. Thanks for the shout out to my cute kid as well. And everybody, make sure you guys are joining the members group on the YouTube page, following Carl and I on Twitter, X, whatever it is, Carl Dumler MHH. I'm at Kendell MHH. Also follow us at Mile High Huddle. We're at facebook.com/Mile High Huddle and facebook.com/Mile High Huddle pod. And as the ticker says there underneath, subscribe, like, and share. Carl, any final thoughts? Did I mess up anything? You look like you're smirking there. What's going on?
No, I'm happy. Like I said, Broncos 7-2, really big opportunity in front of them. And it's just been a great day. And I think hopefully it's going to be a great Thursday for the Broncos and get a nice little 10-day break and make the rest of the NFL go, oh crap, Broncos are back. You look at the top of the AFC and it looks like we're clear back in 2012 again with Indy, Broncos and Patriots all there at the top.
Pittsburgh too, with the Ravens.
Yeah.
Right on.
Cream rises to the top. That's what I got to say.
Yeah. AFC is wide open, man. I think probably the top 4 teams in the NFL, probably all NFC this season. They don't have the quarterbacks, but they got better rosters. Seahawks, and Rams, Lions probably as well. Packers, those are probably the top 4 teams. Maybe, I don't know. Definitely
Eagles.
the Seahawks, Rams. That game's going to be freaking lit. I cannot wait for that one. That's going to be bloodbath. But appreciate everybody. Nothing like a sleeping dog. Yeah, no cloning this guy. The original one right there. Sorry, Tom Brady, you can't do it. Have a great night, everybody. I'll see you again tomorrow morning. Always choose kindness and compassion. Carl, thanks for hanging out tonight, talking a little ball. And we'll see you all again, not tomorrow morning, Friday morning, because we're going to be reacting to the Raiders-Broncos game. So I'll be with Scott tomorrow, talk some Falcons. Maybe they should have been sellers. I don't know. But appreciate everyone. Have a good night. Kindness and compassion. Like I said, go Broncos.